Conspiracy theories, eh? Wait till you get a load of this. Hello, and welcome to Crack Sisters Conspiracies. We are a podcast that talks about conspiracy theories, mysteries, and all over spooky shit. My name is Cassandra.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are said sisters.
There you go.
Oh my God.
It's okay. It's been like a week and a half since we recorded. And apparently we forgot the outro. Or intro.
Today's been a bit of a shit show from the start until 30 seconds ago.
Yes. You broke everything in my house.
I did not break everything in your house. I was here one time because I was out of town the rest of the week.
Oh yeah, how was San Diego?
It's all right. I was there for a financial service conference. I know your eyes are just glazing over as we speak. It was very interesting. A lot of old white men. And a bunch of chads that look like they rolled off of an assembly line. Okay. Same blue blazer and just, finance bro outfit. So there was just a lot of that. I kid you not, there were guys comparing their gains and their stocks. Look, bro, check this out.
Oh, I thought you meant gains.
No, stock market gains, but just listening to it was very nerdy, but that's how they were flexing. So
okay.
Yeah, it was 3 days of just enduring that, and then 9 straight hours of lectures and classes. So
did anyone else go with you from work?
Yeah, so 2 of the other advisors, their partners at the firm, came with us. It was Jason and Jamie.
Oh, okay.
And we all traveled separately, thank God.
There you go.
But yeah, it took me
almost how long?
5 hours to get there.
Wow. I thought it was Friday. Only 3.5 hours to get to San Diego.
Normally it's not bad, but I left at 10:30 on Friday morning, and then there was an accident every 30 feet. Yeah, it took me forever to get there. And then I came home. By the time I left San Diego on Sunday night, it was 8:30. Got home at about 11. And Jason's like, let's call each other and talk the whole way home. And I'm like, let's not. And so I drove up with, the speakers blaring classic rock, screaming in my truck. And then as I was driving through Anaheim, the Disneyland fireworks display went off.
Nice.
So it was kind of nice. But
and then I crashed my car.
Right. But yeah, it was a long weekend.
Agreed.
And you just got back from driving up north.
Yes. I drove to San Francisco. So that took 5.5 hours each way.
Jeez.
And then on my way home today, because I left early, I left at 6:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to kind of get the day done. And the drive home is always easier. But I'm driving on the 5 and I'm like, oh, there's some smoke. Because there's always something on fire anytime I drive up there. And no one seems to care. And I'm like, this smoke's really close and I can smell it in my car.
Oh.
And I look, I'm like, the freeway is on fire. And then a CHP guy just right past me. Doesn't give a shit. Never once stopped because I ended up following him most of the way home. I'm like, bro, I think that's your job.
To deal
No
with
one fucking cares. No one even slowed down. I'm like, all right, man, whatever.
Is it just because California is always on fire?
I guess. But I'm like, that's a little close. And the freeway is your job. So.
Right. Oh, speaking of awful fires and tragedies, did you see that Lahaina in Maui is almost essentially completely burned down?
No.
Yeah. There's a wildfire out in Hawaii that completely decimated a part of the island.
No.
And because I'm a terrible person, oh my God, Moose McGillicuddy's isn't going to be there anymore.
It's still not there, is it?
It was in Lahaina. I don't know that it's there now.
Oh. Oh no.
I know. So anywho, that was
I already did my Hawaii trip for the life.
I haven't been since I was 15 or 16. Been trying to get back since.
It's hot. It's humid. And I planned too much shit when we went.
Oh.
Otherwise it was fun.
Should probably pick a cooler climate to vacation.
It's expensive as shit.
Well, everything's expensive, but
I know. But anyway, what are we talking about today?
Today's topic was actually a listener request. And I had never heard about it before it was brought up to us. But this is at the request of our friend and a listener, Johnny. Today, we are going to be discussing the dancing plague.
Yes.
Like I said, I didn't know anything, so I consulted the Google for a quick search to see. And honestly, it sounds like a nightmare.
I also did research. It sounds pretty fun.
I mean, you know what? There are a couple of different ways to look at it. Let's explore that a little bit more. But yeah, in a nutshell, the dancing plague was a dancing epidemic is the word that they used. It was essentially just a bunch of crazed lunatics dancing for like weeks.
Okay.
And so it took place in what is now known as modern day France.
France.
We come from France. But
Hold on, have you seen that? It was a little while ago. It was the Miss America, Miss USA pageant.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, they made everyone yell where they're from. And it's like, Colombia.
Yes.
France.
That
poor fucking lady. Because she didn't know how to yell.
Yeah.
It's just a terrible accent. But anyway.
Sorry for anyone's ears who I just hurt. So anyway, in modern day France,
yes,
back then it was called Strasbourg.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you. There's probably a more Frenchy way to pronounce it. I don't know. So this happened from July to September in the year 1518.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a really long time ago.
Can't even fathom when that was.
Hundreds of years ago. Just doesn't seem like people really existed back then. So what does a dancing epidemic entail, you might ask?
I do ask.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
It all started with one lady, and her name was Frau Truffia.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Probably fucking not.
She is long dead, so I don't feel too bad. On a presumptively toasty July in the 1500s. I actually Googled what the weather in France is like in July because I'm like, is it not toasty?
Yeah.
It's toasty for them, like 70s to 90s.
Okay.
So Frau decided to bust a move in the middle of the street just randomly one day. And on the face of it, that doesn't sound too weird.
Sounds like shit we do all the time.
I was going to say, I do weird things in public constantly.
I literally was directing traffic because we had a major intersection where someone cut the power lines on accident.
Uh-huh.
So we kept getting accidents there. So we're having to direct traffic, which is everyone's worst nightmare. And I got real bored and real tired of it. So I just started twerking and everyone thought it was hilarious.
I'm sure they did. Okay. But yes. Good old Frau.
Yes.
She did not stop dancing. She kept on grooving for a whole week.
Wow.
Like,
was there music?
So there is mention of music at some point, but no, there's not music necessarily present to induce the dancing fit, which she was in the middle of the street. So it's unlikely that unless she was passing by a church or something and a choir, who knows? It's not like they had boom boxes.
I know, that's what I was thinking. iPods.
Maybe there's some kid in the town square, but no. So I don't think it was a direct result of that. So dancing for weeks or a week for her. And yeah, I keep trying to imagine what that would be like.
It's funny when you put them in like their old timey clothes,
right? But like doing modern day dancing.
Yeah, what does their dancing
like
look
flossing
like?
And like
I don't think they know of that.
And like
maybe the robot,
the sprinkler, and
the shopping cart.
Yeah, yeah. Because like, what did they reference? Like picking up a rock, putting the rock over here, grabbing a bucket, putting it on my head. I don't know. Like,
but yeah, a cigarette.
Did they have cigarettes in the 1500s? I don't know. I can't really visualize it, which it's weird to think of. Not too long after Little Miss Frau started getting down, it was said that another 36 or so people started following suit, resulting in what I assume was like a really sad attempt at a street level mosh pit in the 1500s. Just imagine people skanking in the street, kicking each other.
Oh, yes. I was thinking more of a flash mob.
Oh,
where it's a little bit nicer, more coordinated.
Yeah, that's probably
I don't think they're fucking headbanging and like throwing bows at each other, but
no one knows what's happening. There's people just gyrating in public on a whim continuously. But yeah, so like that shit, it just kept going. People were just dancing until they dropped, quite literally. It became a bit chaotic and people started collapsing, likely due to exhaustion from continuously moving your body.
And I heard, what's her name?
Frau?
Her. I heard her feet were bleeding and bruised, but she wouldn't stop.
She had a little...
She had the fever.
Something going on. And some people were like being knocked off by strokes and heart attacks and shit. Like their bodies are just giving out on them. But by August, so this started in July. By August, it had kind of started to wane down, but by then it had already killed like 400 people.
Jesus.
400 people danced themselves to death.
What a way to go.
And whether it was truly the dancing that got them, it's likely leading up to some other comorbidity, or they just, their bodies gave out. At the time, no one knew what the hell was going on, and everyone just kind of rolled with it for a while, just close the blinds, keep walking. By end of August, beginning of September, a couple months, it all started to die down. And the townsfolk, sufficiently fed up with all of the dancers taking over the streets, sent the afflicted parties away. Like, if you're not going to knock that shit off, you need to get it out of here. And so they sent those people to a mountain shrine to pray for absolution. Whether that worked or not, it's unknown.
Okay.
So like I said, this was in the 1500s. All you have to go off of are accounts that those at the time managed to note down, have been like translated because they didn't have the same type of language and words that we did. So I don't know whether it's like super reliable, but it was the people that lived there in the time. So like council members or doctors, they had physician notes, which I feel like there's a HIPAA violation in there somewhere.
They didn't have HIPAA.
HIPAA probably didn't exist.
That's probably a more recent thing.
But yeah, so just notes from a random assortment of people within that town, but they all agreed that just some bitch started dancing and creating a scene, and that's kind of where it came from.
So is this why Footloose was created? Because you're not allowed to dance in that town, right?
You're not. Dancing was forbidden.
Like,
and it was a super religious town. Yeah, because they're like, oh, I actually think I make note of it. I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain it was like they're trying to dance the sin away.
Oh, okay.
And yeah,
that's how I live my life.
We'll get to that. But yes, there's some religious connotations. Okay. So no one really knows what started it or what caused it. They just know when it started.
Okay.
But yeah, like to the normal folk living there, they didn't know what the hell to do with it. And so like the law enforcement was just like, we don't know what to do either. So we're just going to leave it to the doctors. Make it their problem.
Yeah.
Clearly there's something going on. But they didn't know what to do either because this is not something they had ever encountered before. And so they just kind of were like, let him dance it out, see what happens.
Let him literally fucking die.
Right? Like, I'll deal with this when it's my problem, right? They're just having a good time. Who am I to say otherwise?
There you go.
Yeah, so when that didn't end, when they just kept going, that's when they shipped him off to pray away the gay. That's what I was gonna say. To pray it out. That sounds better. Oh my God. I mean, no offense to anyone. Prior to the exile of those afflicted, the townsfolk
were like a really good sentence.
Thank you. We're getting fed up with the dancing shenanigans, and the local council ended up banning dancing.
Literally Footloose.
Yep, excuse me. There's something in my throat. That's disgusting. Because people were also joining in for funsies, just to be part of the crowd, some FOMO. But they also thought it was a way to avoid being punished by Saint Vitus. I don't know how to pronounce Latin.
Saint Venus?
Vitus, Vitus.
Oh.
And they wanted to be labeled as sin-free. But it just caused a ruckus because there's more people dancing. Yeah. But some of these people are like having legit breakdowns. So, but just to take it a step further, they also banned music. So it was just no fun times allowed.
Yeah, when I was looking it up, I saw that early on when that one bitch and like maybe a couple of people were doing it, the leaders of the town, they're like, this seems harmless. So they rented out or created this huge dance hall. They brought in musicians and they were encouraging it. And then when it didn't fucking stop, that's when they're like, okay, let me reevaluate some choices.
Let's step some of this back here. As far as the death toll goes, so I mentioned they said about 400 people died. They were estimating that people were dropping off at a rate of about 15 deaths a day.
Jesus.
Yeah. Over the course of the
month and a half,
6 weeks that it went on. But I'm like, that's a lot of bring out your dead, filling up the street.
Yeah. What movie was that from?
That's Monty Python.
Oh, yeah.
So that was what the reports, the old documents suggested. But there was some misstatements here, and so it didn't always jive with all the other records. So there was nothing to really corroborate the number of deaths or the causes of those deaths either. But it's more than likely agreed upon that it was somewhere around 400 over the course of that time. Sounds kind of weird. Sounds like it's something that would be happen once and then not happen again, because why would dancing plagues be a thing? But apparently the dancing plague that hit France wasn't the only one in history. And there were similar events that had taken place throughout the medieval ages all across the globe. So like Sweden and other places, things like this have been reported for like hundreds of years before even when this one took place. So it's been a thing. Those folks usually just chalked it up to demonic possession, which I can get behind. So one instance that happened in the 15th century Italy was the result of a woman being bitten by a tarantula. And so the venom made her dance convulsively, and the only way to cure it was shimmy with the right kind of music. I'm sure she was having an adverse reaction to the venom coursing through her body. It's like contractions and constrictions and weird ass things happen with spider bites and snake bites and stuff. So that is probably not what happened to the rest of the people, but demonic possession and spider bites could also be.
Yeah, it's totally plausible. I'm always down with a good demonic possession.
But like I said, there's no actual known reason, just kind of theories and guesses. Like I said, I like demonic possession. Some people also suggested that it was possibly their blood overheating, causing them to act all fucking weird. Is that a thing in your medical experience? Is overheating blood?
No.
Is that like, does that happen when you get like super intense fever and then your body just like boils from the blood or what?
Well, no. So you can get like febrile seizures, which is usually prevalent in young children. So that's when your fever gets so high, the 104 and up, they're afraid that if they don't get you cooled rapidly, your body will start to have seizures because it's impacting your brain. But it's not your blood boiling. I don't know specifically what happens inside, but I just know it's a dangerous heat to have your brain, not your blood, and your brain then goes and
but maybe seizing. That starts, weird convulsive dancing.
Possibly.
Maybe they're onto something with that. That was a very well put explanation.
Sure.
I'll take it.
Well, I know when I got COVID the second time.
Oh, you got fucked.
I had to call mom and have her come over because me being a grown ass woman, I'm like, I can't get my fever down. I was at 103.5 and climbing.
Oof.
And I'm like, there's no way I can get this down. So this bitch, mom, she came over and I got like stripped down to like my skivvies. And then she took fucking towels
with like alcohol,
rubbing alcohol, and placed it on my body, which sucks all of the heat out. And then she had the fucking fans going. She wouldn't let me have a blanket. It was fucking miserable. Fun fact.
But I just want our listeners to know how awesome of a mom we have, that she would come and
that is true.
Cover you in soaked down alcohol rags and keep you away from an open flame in the process.
I didn't even think about that.
The amount of power, mom, that you had in that moment, and you controlled yourself.
Was she going to blackmail me?
No, she could have just decided she was over us, wanted to pick us off, and just poof, up in flames you go.
That's a terrible way to kill someone.
That is a terrible way. And then you'd have to deal with like the charge.
And then I'm just charged.
Yeah. And then like
the
rest
trigger's going to catch on fire.
Yeah, everything else is going to catch
the dog
on fire.
No. And this isn't even my house.
See, the dog is sad. Just
I agree.
And then to kind of close it out, there's a couple other modern day theories that people suspect may have caused it. Some people believe that the dancing convulsions were brought on by ergot fungi, which is known to have toxic and psychoactive chemicals that may induce that kind of reaction. So
convulsions,
tripping balls and convulsing.
Do you know where that fungus comes from? Like how they would have ingested it? Because
I do. Yes. The ergot fungi typically grows on grains. And so grains are usually used for baking. So rye and flour.
What I read was it's like they massively used rye bread.
Yeah.
And they believed it was just like a weird batch.
Did you watch The Last of Us?
No, but I played the video game.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
I didn't get very far.
This is essentially how the whole fungi apocalypse came to be. It was through like the flour and stuff being distributed and making bread and all. Fantastic show. Pedro Pascal is chef's kiss. Anywho, fungi apocalypse. that could have been a reason, though I don't know if that one is it.
Okay.
Again, still rooting for demonic possession.
Yes.
And then another suggested theory was there's this thing called mass psychogenic illness, which can afflict many individuals who start exhibiting bizarre erratic behavior. And so it's essentially like a stress-induced mass hysteria. It can spread rapidly to other people.
Yes.
And it's helped along when there are just elevated levels of psychological stress. So weak-minded people having a breakdown are more susceptible.
Oh, both of us. I know. That's just you. I literally had a breakdown 20 minutes ago.
And given the time, and I'm sure what are like absolute shit conditions of living in the 1500s.
And I think they have plagues and shit then.
Yeah, not just dancing.
That's a little stressful. Like scarlet fever and shit.
Right. So I would say it's safe to assume that they were very stressed. So that one is probably one of the more likely scenarios. But yeah, at the end of the day, no one knows what actually happened or what the ultimate cause was, but it was a weird ass thing to look into because I didn't read about that in any of my school books.
Never once heard about it.
Nope. So thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, thank you.
I felt like I was educated in some weird little blip in history.
We'll stand by because I got
what do you got?
So you hit all of the possibilities that I saw except one additional one.
What was that?
So on top of demonic possession, fungus, and mass psychogenic illnesses, there was also people that believed that these individuals were cursed and they were forced to dance for the rest of their lives as their penance for their curse.
Got it. Was it Saint Vitus who cursed them?
I didn't see a saint. I don't know. I didn't look that far into it, but I did look into the mass psychogenic illness / disorder because I thought that was kind of interesting. So kind of just piggybacking on what you said. It is when a group of people start to feel sick at the same time, even though there is no physical or environmental reason for them to be sick. Many of these episodes start with some sort of environmental trigger, like a bad smell or a rumor of an exposure to poison.
Is it like what caused the Barfarama scene in Stand By Me? I mean, kind of similar concept where it's like one person vomits and then everyone else gets grossed out by the smell and seeing it.
Kind of.
Okay.
So like you said, it's prevalent in times of high stress or anxiety. So I guess it would be a little bit more accurate if the dude didn't just drink oil and then eat 15 pies, but instead he smells something rotten and he goes, oh, what's that smell? And then that makes him sick. And then other people go, oh my God, what is that smell? It's poison. And then they start panicking and then they see him throwing up. So they're throwing up and now other people have different symptoms.
It's like a really bad game of telephone.
Yes. So the people that are involved in these outbreaks do have real signs of sickness and they're not just imagined or in their head. However, that sickness is not caused by whatever terrible disease they think they have contracted. So
they're hypochondriacs,
but not intentionally.
Oh, you said they were afflicted.
They are. So they do have they are nauseous. They are vomiting. They are dancing. They are doing, maybe they have a rash or hives, but it's not because of
whatever they think,
happened. And then, so an example of this is stage fright. So it's a highly stressful situation for a lot of people. And therefore it causes physical symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, fainting, diarrhea, shortness of breath. So it's just a kind of a normal thing that people get so worked up over that their body responds physiologically and it gives them these sorts of shit.
Speaking of shit, I bet they were all shitting in the street together too.
God,
that would
hanging up their skirts.
And then that would just add on to the layer of stress. And I feel like if you existed outside of the mania and then you're like, there's fucking shit everywhere, then I would get stressed and then I would become one of the crazy people.
There you go. So these outbreaks usually stopped. Are you okay?
No, keep going.
So these outbreaks usually stop when the sick people are either moved away from the place of illness,
sent to the mountains to pray.
Or they're evaluated by a doctor and ensured that they don't have that scary disease.
Just a big slap to the face.
Kind of. Like, they're like, yeah, you don't have that, so you're cured.
You have chlamydia instead, or smallpox, or...
And then there was a study done. So per an article I read in the Sage journals, there was a study done from 2010 to 2020 where 32,887 people participated. And of those people, 2,968 were children and adolescents.
Okay.
And this study that I read only focused on the children and adolescents. And they found a whole lot of sciencey shit. But more specifically, they found that boys had a lower rate than girls of mass hysteria.
Well, I mean,
I know, right? The 3 most popular triggers were water pollution, suspected food poisoning, and supernaturalism.
Ooh.
Primary student-age children were more likely to experience mass hysteria than younger or older children.
So, like, Grayson.
And then the highest rating of mass hysteria was in 2014. And then it started to decline until COVID hit in 2020, which spiked it back up. But that's kind of understandable.
Sure, that's an unprecedented. I fucking hate that word.
Don't say it.
It's everywhere. We're in such unprecedented times. We've been saying this shit for years now. I hate that phrase. Sorry.
So overall, it is stated that mass psychogenic disorder or mass hysteria is severely underreported, and that it's probably way more common, like you said, than people would ever think of, because it's not reported on or it's not studied as frequently.
Interesting.
So, I did think that was very interesting.
That was a weird one, but like I said, a living nightmare. Just
I mean, it'd be fun, but like, I don't know if you ever been to a club, but like dancing after, I didn't think so. Dancing after like 2 hours, it's fucking exhausting. Your whole entire body is tired. You're sweaty. Your feet hurt. This bitch was going till her feet were bleeding and bruised. People were literally just dying.
And like I said, shitting and doing everything.
No, shitting.
Wait, it's not like they paused, like, oh, gotta pop over to the loo real quick. I don't know. Duh.
They're for friends.
I gotta go dig a fucking ditch behind a log. I'll be back. Keep the party going without me. Like, no, they were just being free.
So in Cancun, when we went, sorry, it reminded me of something. There was like each night they had like a different theme. Like the world something was going on with the soccer players.
World Cup?
Yeah, that one. That was going on. So they would play that some nights. There was theme nights. We had like a band. It was like a Queen cover band or something. And then there was a silent dance party night, which I had never heard of. So everyone had headphones. And then you're fucking jamming to like one of 3 songs. But we just watched. And it's just the weirdest thing. And that's probably what it was. Because these people have no external music. They're just dancing to the fucking rhythm in their head. So that must have been so dumb.
Yeah, because it's like lute music and trumpets. No, that's a trumpet. I was thinking the big thing with the flag on it that they're like, hear ye, hear ye. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's a trumpet.
But like, is it? Because a trumpet traditionally has like the trumpet keys and stuff. Like I'm talking about just the long vuvuzela looking.
Trombone.
No, that's got the slide. I can't. That was not a common instrument in band. Yeah, but it's big and brass and holds a flag on it usually. I don't know.
Anyway,
the things I am choosing to take issue with tonight. So what is your next topic gonna be? Do you have anything prepared?
I do. Where's my phone? Okay, so I watched a couple of videos on YouTube and I got 20 new ideas.
Oh, I forgot what we were talking about already.
So
you walked out the door and for 4 seconds. Not gone.
So I could do. Have you ever heard of the Bayer scandal? Like Bayer aspirin?
Oh, Bayer, not bear, like Scare Bear. Bayer.
Yeah, isn't that Bayer?
Bayer.
I feel like we're saying the same thing.
Bayer. Yes, okay. I can visualize the bottle. It's like red and it says Bayer with like
Bayer.
So
we can do that because there was a scandal about their medication that was possibly laced with something.
Oh, okay.
Not possibly, it was. What? So we can do that.
Okay, Bayer.
Or we could do whatever planned adolescence was. I didn't write a note saying what it was, but I wrote it down.
Planned adolescence.
No, planned.
What? Obsolescence. So you know what? You can't say either of them, so take your fucking pick.
That's a good point. You know what? We're going to go with the Bayer because I can't think of what this is at the moment.
Bayer.
We're saying the same thing.
Bayer.
This is going to be all next episode.
Buckle up, guys. You're in for a wild ride. I can tell you that now. Anywho, yeah, so we like recommendations and suggestions. So this was a recommended episode, but if you have thoughts, comments, recommendations of your own, you can reach out to us on our various social media platforms. We have an email. It's cracked sistersconspiracies@gmail.com. We have Facebook and Twitter, but we don't actually use them. It's a black hole if you send anything there. So I wouldn't use Instagram like any normal person in the year of our Lord 2023 uses. But yeah, so leave us feedback. Nice feedback. And with that,
we have a Patreon.
Oh, we have a Patreon, which I've completely forgotten about.
Because none of you are fucking signed.
Right? I posted stuff and then I lost my interest because you all suck. And apparently no one wants to look at us and have fun and listen to our weird off kilter talks outside of a normal scheduled program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to, patreon.com/cracked-sistersconspiracies.
Doesn't matter. You're not going to fucking go there anyway.
Yeah.
Give us your money,
bitch.
And with that, stay cracked, y'all.
And have a great